God's superstars don't cop out. God's superstars don't look for an easy life. God's superstars don't want comfortable convenience. God's superstars, with their hand of faith in Jesus Christ, are willing to take on adversity because they know that God is bigger than any problem they may face. Now, the second principle we see in the book of Daniel 1 is that God's 21st century superstars understand their identity. They understand not only where to put their trust, but they understand who they are. When Daniel was ushered into the Babylonian kingdom, King Nebuchadnezzar did everything he could to distort and destroy Daniel's sense of identity. Now, our identity has to do with our understanding of who we are. Our sense of identity or belonging influences everything we do. It inspires our dreams. It gives direction to all that we hope to be. God's superstars thrive in adversity. God's superstars understand their identity. You can change Daniel's name, but you can't change his nature. You can change Daniel's country, but you can't change his character. You can change Daniel's home, but you can't change his heart. You can change Daniel's surrounding, but you can't change his spirit. You can change Daniel's master and give him Nebuchadnezzar rather than Jehoiakim, but you can't change his mind. God is looking for a group of Seventh-day Adventist youth who deep within their souls are committed to Jesus. Deep within their souls, they're committed to his word. Daniel purposed, Daniel determined, Daniel decided. Daniel was not concerned about his reputation, he was concerned about his character. Daniel was not concerned about royalty, he was more concerned about loyalty. Daniel was not concerned about pleasing the king, he was concerned about pleasing the King of Kings. Dwight L. Moody once said, if I take care of my character, my reputation is going to take care of itself. What led Daniel to make such a significant decision? Daniel knew he had royal blood running in his veins, so he didn't need to put royal dainties in his mouth. Daniel knew that he had a mission from a ruler of the universe, therefore he did not need a commission from the ruler of Babylon. Daniel had bowed low before the King of Kings in the prayer room so he could stand tall before the king of Babylon in the throne room. Daniel knew that he had the approval of heaven, so he was willing, if necessary, to be reproved by the king of Babylon. Ellen White makes an interesting comment, Prophets and Kings, page 482. But Daniel did not hesitate. The approval of God was dearer to him than the favor of the most powerful earthly potentate, dearer than life itself. He determined to stand firm in his integrity, let the result be what it may. What was important to Daniel? What was that was important to Daniel? What was it? The approval of God. Have you made a decision in your life where you have said, the approval of God is the most important thing in my life? When a decision comes between doing what you want to do that may not be in harmony with God's will and doing what you ought to do, what decision do you make? You see, conversion comes at the point of a test. Deeper conversions come at the point of a test. When you do God's will, when it's already in harmony with your own will, that is no test. But when you make a decision to do God's will, when God's will runs contrary to your will, that's a test. Now, Daniel recognized this vital truth, that if he compromised in this one point, he would continue to compromise. Ellen White points this out clearly, continuing to read on page 482 in Prophets and Kings. And it says this, Prophets and Kings, God's richest blessings do not come to those who compromise their integrity. Can you say that together with me this morning? God's richest blessings do not come to those that compromise their integrity. Again, God's richest blessings do not come to those that compromise their integrity. How many of you want God's richest blessings today? How many are going to do your will rather than God's? I knew some people weren't thinking. That's why, you always got to throw in a trick question. God's richest blessings come from those that do not do what? Compromise their what? Integrity. How many want God's richest blessings again? How many want to say, God, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. Even if it crosses my own will. God wants to bless you abundantly. Now look, I continue the reading, Prophets and Kings 4:8-2. This is a powerful statement. Should Daniel and his companions, should they compromise with wrong in this instance by yielding to the pressure of circumstances, their departure from principle would weaken their sense of right and their abhorrence from wrong. See, it's not that the thing you do in compromise is always so grossly evil. It is not the thing you do necessarily, but it's the process that the mind goes through in doing it. Are you with me? To make a decision that is contrary to the will of God, when in my heart I know and am convicted by the Spirit and convicted by the Word it's wrong, it's not always that the thing I do is so wrong, but it is the process that comes that leads me to do it, which is compromise, and one compromise leads to what? The next and the next and the next, and soon I'm doing things that I never imagined that I would ever do. God is looking for a generation of youth that will maintain their integrity and be loyal to God at any cost in His Word, like Daniel, who purposed in his heart to serve God.